Hi, it's Sandy, your sister and your friend. Welcome to today's video. Jesus said something that's recorded in the Bible, that he said, "Wide is the gate and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. But small is the gate and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it." What was he talking about? What are these two gates and these two roads? As I sat in contemplation recently, this suddenly became clear to me. The wide gate and the broad road are the world's way of doing things. I'm not saying that these are bad ways, but they're ways that are an unconscious way of living that don't draw us inside of ourselves where we'll actually find God. People entering through the wide gate may know of God, or they may have heard about God through religion or philosophy, but they haven't known God experientially in their lives yet. They're looking to be fulfilled in the ways that the world offers that are apart from God. They form their identities in either positive ways, like the one who has the handsome husband, or the one with all the bank accounts, or with all the degrees after his or her name, or they can even form these identities in negative ways, as the one whose husband left her, or as the one who went bankrupt, or the one who flunked out of college because a professor didn't like him or her. And then they take all these false identities and they load them on their backs and they lumber going through the wide gate. The gate has to be wide so that we can carry all this stuff with us. And then as we struggle under the weight of all these false identities, we're on the broad road. We add all of the accolades that we've ever received, or all the hurts and all the traumas that have happened in our lives. Our ego tries to help us in the only way that it knows how, by ruminating on our past or projecting our past into our future. When we dwell in either living in the past, having thoughts like, well, when she said that, I should have said this, or we project things into our future, oh, I bet my boss wants to meet with me because I'm getting ready to be laid off. We actually take ourselves out of the moment that we're living in, which is the only real thing that we have in our life, is this present moment. So the wide gate is looking for the world to meet our innermost needs, which it cannot possibly do. And the broad road takes us out of the present moment so that we're reliving the past and projecting into the future. This is an unconscious way of life, and unfortunately, it's the way that most people live here on the earth. So let's look at the alternative that Jesus offered. He said, "Small is the gate and narrow is the road that leads to life." So what is the small gate to life? Jesus said that he came to the earth so that we could have life and have it more abundantly. His life was one of abundance because he never lost sight of his oneness with the Father. He was able to take his identity, and take a couple of fish sandwiches and feed thousands of people. He healed everybody who came to him, and he even raised people from the dead. So what gate did Jesus enter? He entered the gate of surrender. I think Jesus was born with an innate desire and hunger to know God personally. And when this hunger was met, Jesus surrendered everything to God. We see this over and over again in Jesus' life as he continued to preach the truth in spite of being persecuted by the religious leaders of his day. We hear him ultimately surrender his all just before going to the cross when he prayed, "Not my will, but your will be done." Surrender is a small gate. It's small because we can't take other stuff through the gate with us. We have to drop the false identities that our ego has formed. And as we go through this gate, we will find that the negative energy that we've stored inside of us, either consciously or unconsciously, will try to come up and be released. There's no room for this negativity through this small gate. God will actually help us by bringing triggers into our life that will touch these things that we've stored, these old hurts and these traumas. They will come up with pain, most likely, but He is always there to help us reframe these past thoughts so that this negative energy can be transmuted and released. And as we engage forgiveness and love and release the judgments and the fear, we will find that we can easily pass through this gate of surrender. Your life then becomes a journey to a greater opening of the divine within you. The narrow road is now staying present in each moment as it unfolds in front of you. It's accepting whatever is happening in front of you, no matter what it is. I heard Eckhart Tolle describe this as being on a high wire. The person who's walking on a high wire is only focusing on the step that he's taking in that moment. He's not looking behind him to see all the steps he's already come along, or looking ahead of him to the steps that are further out than this present step that he's in. If we accept this moment as if we had chosen it, we will see that it is ultimately for our good. And this is the narrow road to the abundant life that Jesus promised. Now, if this sounds like the life that you want to have, but you don't have this deep hunger and longing for God yet, ask God. Ask Him to give you this hunger. You just ask Him to make Himself real to you. Jesus told us, ask and you will receive, seek and you will find, knock and it will be open to you. Just ask or pray and wait for God to answer you in the stillness. He will make Himself known to you in the stillness or in the silence that are between the words as you're praying. You will suddenly know that you are loved unconditionally. It may wash over you like a waterfall. You will see that there has never been any separation between you and God. You are one with God. Now you will start to see as God sees. You will start to hear as God hears. You will love as God loves. You will know as God knows. You will know without having any idea where this inner knowing comes from. This is your divine conscious awareness. It is your true self. You have entered the small gate of surrender, and you will be shown how to let go of desires and past hurts and traumas. It is only through this surrender that we end all suffering in our life. Isn't that good news? Oh, wow. God invites each of us to enjoy Him and to have an abundant life with Him. It seems paradoxical that we gain everything by surrendering what we think that we have in this world. It's the loss of our preferences for something different in our life that actually opens the door to living God's life here on the earth. If you haven't already surrendered to this personal invitation from your Father, I invite you to accept this invitation to surrendering, to knowing who you are, your true identity as being one with God. What you will lose pales in comparison to what you will gain. It's worth the loss of all earthly things to live the rest of your life on the earth with the mind of Christ. Thank you so much for listening. I love being in God's family with you. God bless you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Till next time.